All right, here with Christine Mallard out of Mansfield Legacy, back from an amazing journey.
Right.
You're halfway around the country. First, congratulations on moving up to the #2 spot, Texas all time in the 452.12.
Thank you.
Explain your race plan. Now, this is at the Brooks PR. We're going to separate this because you did 2 races.
Yes, I did.
This is at Brooks.
Right.
Explain the race plan, and was this dominant time part of the plan or just happened?
Well, after state, I feel like with my 53, I knew I could have done a lot better. So when I was coming into this, I was like, okay, Brooks, the best of the best. I see Rosie, I see Kennedy, I see Kayla Davis. So I'm like, okay. I'm also very analytical about things. So I was looking at the times from what they were in that season. I was like, okay, what lane am I going to be in? For me, when I was going initially, I was going with the initial like to win. I wanted to win. I wanted to PR. I wanted to do my very, very best. And so basically, even in practice, we were practicing like a 54-second run. And I knew I ran a 53.63 in practice. So I was like, okay, I know for a fact I can go 51. So when we got there, I was actually very excited. It was a really good experience. They actually treated me very, very well. And I welcomed the experience. When we finally got to the line, I was like, okay, right before like the gun went off, I'm like, God's got me. We're going to see where this goes. We're going to leave it all on the track. We're going to see what happens. And I was going through the race. I was like, okay, we're going first 200. Because Kayla was not in the lane in front of me, I was like, I don't know where I'm at as much. So I had to like pick it up a little. I had to be a little bit more quick about it. And so basically by the 250 mark, I was right near Kennedy. I'm like, okay, I know with Kennedy and Rosie, because they're right there too, somebody's got to make a move. I was like, I'm going to make that move. And if they respond, okay, because I know for a fact Rosie had a really good kick. So I'm like, I gotta go now or I gotta go later. And I didn't want to go later. And so I just finished all the way through. And it was a good race. Because I smiled, I was like, oh my God, I just won this race. I was like, it's not that I didn't expect to win, but I didn't expect it to go like
that. Well, you are pretty analytical. You do your homework.
Yes, I do.
Is that ever a detriment? Do you find yourself at any point sometimes overthinking?
Yes, in the past, I used to be to the point where I was looking at all my other competitors and I kept comparing myself to them initially. And it wasn't in a sense that they were better. We were all fast, but it was just in a sense of like, well, she's on the line and I'm on the line and I want to win. And I kept overthinking. I was worried about other people instead of worrying about my own lane. And so I feel like this year I've grown to learn and understand that, hey, you know, I have to focus on my lane. Even if I look into other people's lane, I'm not focused on my lane. You know what I'm saying? I used to be that competitive and like that driven. It was almost an obsession with other athletes because I was pretty new to the sport as a whole. So I think for me, it was like a learning experience and I grew from it. And so now we're here and I'm like, I can take it in stride. I see what I want to see just for me and for how my game plan is and how it works in my brain. So now I'm okay now. We're good.
Yeah, because, you know, in a team sport, basketball, volleyball, whatever, you can scheme to guard the other team in track and field as you're starting to realize you can't do anything about your competitors. You have to worry about you.
Exactly.
When did you finally realize that?
I think I realized it when basically it was a moment I was watching the other competitors and I remember specifically my mom called me out right then and there's like, well, why are you watching these other girls like this? And I realized this right then and there. I felt bad and I was like, why am I doing this? And so I had to start there. It actually happened about last year when my mom just told me like, wait, why are you watching these girls this way? Like, are you okay? Like what's going on? And I realized, oh shoot, I've been doing this a lot. So it even came to a point where I had to block people just to get them out of my peripherals. I had to work on me and focus on like my mentality about track and racing and other competitors. I had to do that for myself. I had to do that. And that was just for my sanity and for me just to be like, and I know some people were like, well, you don't have to block. Like, no, I just needed them. It wasn't anything malicious at all. It wasn't anything malicious. It was just for me focused on me and just myself. That was all.
Well, it's starting to work out real well for you now.
Right.
That's awesome. Now you break through the tape, you look up at the clock, see your time, what goes through your head?
I was really, really happy with that, considering I had a PR the whole season. It was only my second year running the 400. I was really, really happy with that because I realized, here's the thing. I was like, oh yeah, I'm happy with the time. And so I realized, like, wait, if I took like one more power step, I would have hit a sub 52. And that's what I realized. I was like, but it's okay. We learned and we continue to grow. But I was happy with the time. I couldn't have asked for better at a big meet that was hosted, live streamed and everything else. I was happy with the time.
And this is only your second year running the 400?
Yes.
So you still have a lot to learn and a lot to give.
Exactly.
Well, that's exciting. The gold shoe, the crown, sitting on the throne. Tell us how well Brooks treated you and all the athletes.
No, okay, so basically how Brooks treated me, they were very, very nice. I loved my chaperone. I loved getting to know other top athletes because it's like we all know each other, but we see each other as competitors. It's not that it was very awkward to just be like, oh wait, we're people too, just doing normal things that everybody else would have done. And so even when I finished my race and I was sitting on the throne, I saw Takaya was also in third place. So I was like, oh shoot, Takaya, because she's my teammate for USC. And it was a cool experience. And I remember I don't know what the little girl's name was. I think her name started with a C, but she gave me the golden shoe, and it was just a nice experience that the kid gave me the golden shoe. And I really appreciated it. Sitting on the throne because my legs were still hurting, but I had a big grin on my face. It was really, really nice. And also with the other athletes, I feel like I got to meet some that I knew vaguely, and I got to meet some that I knew very well. And it was just a good experience, even traveling together, doing all our like separate activities, and then being on the boat together. It was really, really fun.
Is there someone you actually met that you had wanted to meet?
Okay, okay. I think initially I wanted to meet Rosie and Juliet because they've been dominant, like say miler, 800 and 400 meter runners. And it's right. Like I feel like it's very. I was fascinated, but it's so impressive the things that they were able to do. Rosie and Juliet in particular. I also wanted to meet. I think on the male side, I wanted to meet Justin Braun because he ran like a 45.3 not too long ago before his injury. So I always was just curious to meet some of these amazing people because I'm like, how do y'all? It makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. And then I meet them like, oh shoot, they're just like me. They're all going through their own things. Like we're all just from different places. It was just really, really cool to meet some of these people.
That's awesome. Now, even the race announcers commented on your strength down the backstretch to the finish. Mm-hmm. Is this a strength for you?
Yes, because with me being very analytical, I could also just tell, like say by body types, I have a more body type where I have more muscle, therefore I have more power when I run. And also with my coach, we've been training basically to a point where like say sometimes I do mileage some days. So say like I'll do 3 miles a day. And so basically on the end, I would just practice my kick. I would practice a kick in a way, it would start at the 300 and slowly work its way up to where basically I could hold a certain speed for a long period of time. And that also is like with interval training on the treadmill also. Right. I was trained in a way to where I was just say doing 90-second intervals. Like I was even going on treadmills that were on a speed of 14. So it was really, really, really fast. Wow. So to where I was able to hold and maintain my speed for long periods of time.
That's impressive.
Yes.
So where can you improve in the 400?
Okay, I think I can improve on my curve. Now we've been working on the curve in a sense to where I'm getting off the curve. I have very, very good straightaways. It's just my curve sometimes. I know for Brooks that time, it was a beautiful curve. I enjoyed it. It was a really nice curve. But say for New Balance, my curve wasn't as consistent, say on the 200, yet on the 400, I ran a beautiful curve in which the 200 meter mark, I was at like a 23 low. So I feel like that could be improved. And also I think I haven't tapped into my speed like my really, really quick, like turnover speed to where I can catch somebody, especially in the beginning of my race. And so basically, Abby Steiner from
Yeah,
Kentucky. So
Kentucky.
we basically call how she does her 100, we call her the Steiner steps, to where, say, on the back stretch, it's just the entire 200, to where we start going faster and faster and faster. And I know for a fact I have the endurance that we've been training on to keep maintaining that speed. That's why at the end, when I made that move, nobody was able to respond because I was already gone.
Right, right. So you use that slingshot coming out of the curve.
Right, exactly.
Then you journey to Philly.
Yes.
For New Balance, from Seattle down to Philly.
Right.
The 100 to 200.
Mm-hmm.
How did this go after competing up there in Seattle?
It went pretty good. I think overall that, like, basically I knew I wasn't, not that I didn't expect to win. I was always go into any race with the exception to win. I just think with the 100, I got third. I was pretty happy with that because we finally started working on our dry phase better. And especially in the beginning of my races for the 1 and 200, that's what we wanted to work on. And I feel like for the 100, I was pretty happy with it, considering I had consistent dry phases and I was getting the cobwebs off after Brooks. And so now, and then going into the 200 meters, I think I just had some really bad starts that I think it wasn't the best starts that I could have done. But I think when I came back on them in the end with the bad start, I ran a 23.5. I knew if I had the start correct, I would have won it. And our goal was to hit 22 because I knew I could hit 22 because I ran a 52.12 at Brooks 2 days ago. So it's like, it's possible. We're right there. And so I think once I get to USC, I'm gonna be able to really hunker down on that speed aspect, especially in the beginning of my races, to where it'll be really, really dangerous once it all comes together.
11:69 in the 100, 23:53, wind legal in the 200.
Mm-hmm.
Are you happy with the performance?
I was happy with the performance given the fact that I ran at Brooks prior to.
Right. That's
Here's the thing. Also, with the 3-hour jet lag, I was going from 1 hour behind to 3 hours ahead. And like my body didn't, I guess because my body was still coming from the 400, it didn't hit my legs until the second day where I had the 100-meter semis and then the 100-meter final and the 200-meter semis. It didn't hit me till that day. And I had to do like an ice bath in the shower because there wasn't a tub. Like my quads were just very much in pain. And I was like, no, we're going to do this. We got to figure it out. It doesn't matter if some of these goes on fresh legs. We're going to figure it out. We're going to do it. You know what I'm saying? So I bit the bullet and I feel overall I'm happy with it because it was a very well performance after Brooks. Pretty good times. I was happy with it.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, what's your at USC? What are your expectations as far as the events that you'll be running?
I've already talked about this with Coach Watts and Coach Jett. Basically, they told me they basically told me they're going to have to be very, very careful with me because it can be really, really good if planned and done correctly for what I need to do. I can easily be on a 100 meters. I can easily do a 200. I can easily do a 400. It just depends on what is going to be the best. But I know for a fact my best event is the 400. But I know I can easily be used on a 4x1 on a straightaway. I can easily be used on a 4x4 at the end. It just depends on what they want me to do. And that's why I'm going to summer school also. I'm not doing well under 20s because unfortunately they did deny my requests because I was late by like a day because of the fact that because I was having trouble with my USA TAP account. And so by that time on that Monday when I had to leave, it was already, I had no connection. I didn't have my laptop. So when I emailed them saying, hey, I just got this time today. Is it possible that you can let me in? They just denied my appeal. And I was like, okay, that's fine. But the benefit of me going a month in advance to USC is I already get acclimated to school. I already get acclimated to the campus, the training. There's nothing like, say, fall, when fall comes in and everybody's rushing to get there, I won't have that problem. So when we go out to college, we go to indoor, we go out with a bang, collegiate record in the 400 meters. That's my goal.
There you go.
exactly. So when we go there, I want to just do the very best that I can and just go out with the bang.
Do you know the collegiate record in the 400?
I don't, but I know it's by, wasn't it? I don't think it was Kendall Ellis. I don't think so. Was it?
I don't know off the top of my head.
I think it was. I don't know what it was, but I know it was like it definitely wasn't like a 48 something. I think a thing probably broke it.
I wouldn't doubt if
If she broke it, yeah.
she's got far too many records in a single season to count.
Exactly.
So reflect on your high school career. What's some of your favorite memories from your successful high school career?
I think some of my favorite memories from my high school career was probably, I think my freshman year when I got 11.61. I remember it, isn't it? I think it's funny how remember as a freshman, not even like literally 4 years ago, and I was so happy about 11.61, and now I'm consistently running 11.5s or 11.4s more consistently. And I think my other favorite moment, I think, was like the 23.22. And it was definitely wasn't legal at district, but I think what happened, like an epiphany moment after I was done, is that I don't feel tired. Like I feel I can get better. I feel that I can get stronger. And at the 52.66 at JOs in that summer also, I feel like it was a great moment because I was just like, I can't believe I just did that. I broke a 9-year record. Like and I was only like my 6th time running with the 52.66. So I knew I had more to give, but I also want to make sure to take everything in stride.
There you go. Well, I mean, you've risen to number 2 in Texas all time. That's right. Not too bad right there.
Not too bad, not at all.
Just behind Brandy Cross.
Yes, I saw that because they were like, "You, Christine, if you would have took one more power step, you would have got it." And I was like, I didn't mean to slow down, but I guess I was just Brooks. It was just like, you know what I'm saying? It was just like we're going. So I was like, well, I got it. It feels really, really good.
Now, a couple of years ago, everybody, the entire world, yourself included, affected by the pandemic, our track season shut down, basically around spring break.
Right.
Headed into the summer, we were all at home, quarantines, et cetera, et cetera. What have you learned about yourself now that we're on the backside and competing again?
Like, I think what I learned through quarantine is that I have a mindset. Well, I learned that my gift, that I say one of my gifts is as a person, is I have the ability to connect and build meaningful relationships with other people. I feel like at New Balance, especially, because Brooke, it was very tight knit, and everyone was coming there with the expectation to win because they were all winners and champions and things of that nature. And at New Balance, I think I was just able to talk to other girls, talk to the rising freshmen. I feel like I definitely enjoyed that because some of them were like, "Are you Christine?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's me." Like, "You were just at Brooks. What are you doing here?" And I was like, "Well, I'm here to run." And I feel like I enjoyed that moment. I feel like during quarantine, I was always by myself, and of course I was still training, but I think what I've learned through like quarantine is that I stuck with it. I stuck with being me. I stuck with the train, and I trusted the process, which I'm still trying to understand today, trusting that process, trusting the long hours. I remember even my senior year, I was down because I had to miss out on New Balance indoor nationals because of this iffy little quad. So I think what I've learned is that I learned about my gifts. I learned about my talents. I learned about other things outside of track. That's what I've gained from quarantine.
Well, I can see the relationships. Just in our short conversation, I can see the engaging personality where a lot of people would feel the ability to be welcomed by you. So that's
right.
That's definitely a gift. Your Twitter profile says DM for business inquiries and NIL. Very smart on your part. Are you going to be a business major?
Well, yes, because I think, well, here's the thing. At USC in particular, they have this multidisciplinary major that I can't enter in the fall of 22, but I can enter in the spring. So basically, it's a bachelor's of science, arts, technology, and business innovation. And it combines communications and marketing, information technology, art, and business. And it combines those all into one.
Oh.
So basically, at the Ivan and Young Academy, basically this is where they basically deal with, say, animation to marketing to communication. It combines all of like everything that I love to do into one. And the other major that I was looking at, also the USC Marshall School of Business, is with business administration as well. But I wonder, I was, because basically I'm also going to summer school to get my master's, because why not get your master's in 3.5 when you can make that 2.5? And so then I could start on my doctorate, say by my junior or for spring junior year. And I don't know whether or not I want to do pre-law or like business law, like the business side of the legalities of business.
Wow, I can see the analytical mind just working there. You got it all, you got a lot figured out already.
Right.
That's amazing. So why USC?
I feel like out of well, here's the thing, Carmelita contacted me first. Out of every other coach, like before I was even running 50, I ran 55.0 in the 400 meter as a junior. She called me first, you know? And so when I built that relationship with her, like at the beginning of my junior year, I built that relationship basically almost for a year. And I felt like when I went on the visit, I felt very welcomed by Coach Watts. I felt very welcomed by Coach Jet. And also when I went on the visit, that was the first time I ever saw the beach. So
Really?
Yes. So I really fell in love with the place. I felt really welcome. I just felt like, oh yeah, I could see myself here. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like had she not built that relationship with me, because I always go by how I feel at the place. You know what I'm saying? Like if it doesn't feel right, I don't think this is somewhere I want to be. So had she not built that relationship, I probably say I would have gone to Oregon. Because Robert Johnson, I built a really good relationship with him as well. And it was unfortunate because I was crying on the phone because I was like, I'm really, really sorry, but I'm not going to your school. And I remember he told me, well, I'm going to have to take about 2 more drinks, but it's fine. But yeah, that's basically how I chose USC. I felt like I liked the coaches, and also being in California, like one of the biggest entertainment meccas of the United States. I felt like it was a good fit. And that's why I chose USC.
Well, you mentioned law, but you also mentioned that this major has art and all sorts of stuff combined with it. What are your intentions, if not law?
I'm not well, if it wasn't law, here's the thing. I always feel like with also building a connection with other people, I also wanted to help others. I don't know what I want to help in yet, but I felt like I would also, I don't know, I feel like I would want to start a nonprofit organization and say either mental health or something to do with children. And that's what the doctrine may be for. And let's say for psychology or being like psychiatrist type thing. Does that make sense? It's not together yet, but those are the ideas I have.
Now, it's interesting you mentioned mental health. A lot of athletes during and post-pandemic have come out about mental health.
Yes.
Obviously, the great swimmer whose name just escapes my head all of a sudden, and Anna Cockrell out of USC.
Right.
You mentioned mental health. Why is that important to you?
I felt with mental health, considering that I've gone through my own journey of, say, healing from certain situations, like say even false starts, that gets to you sometimes. I remember I false started that my senior year in that 100 meters. That can hold a lot of weight with you over time, considering, you know, like you're the person that keeps false starting in this particular event every time. You know what I'm saying? I feel like with mental health, it's something that affects people on a day-to-day. And I feel like a lot of people don't have that outlet to talk to other people, whether that be family, their friends. They don't have an outlet because as track athletes, a lot of people cannot understand what they're going through at all. Like right. For me, I can't talk about the fact about how my track season isn't going well. I'm injured, yet I already have a committed scholarship. I can't talk about someone as a normal person because they're gonna be looking at me like I'm crazy. Like I'm like, well, you have all this, like you get what I'm saying? Oh, yeah. So I feel like with track athletes as a whole, we have to do a lot of training about 5 to 6 times a week. We have to diet properly. We have to go to sleep at this time. And especially for collegiates, managing their NIL deals by themselves, as well as trying to manage their studies, if they even want to do their studies, if that makes sense. And of course, that's a lot to weigh on just one person's shoulders. And it gets to you over time because it's a lot of pressure, especially say for champions, or especially say for the favorites at Brooks. It's a lot of pressure to go out there and have this expectation, have other people have this expectation of you.
Right. Yeah, it was Michael Phelps, the swimmer I was thinking
Yeah,
of.
Michael Phelps.
It escaped my mind. So the rest of your summer, are you done competing?
I am done competing, but I will be going off as well. I'm doing summer school. I'll be beginning to train with Coach Jett and Coach Watts and the rest of the USC crew. That's what I'll be doing.
Awesome. Well, Miss Mallard, you are definitely an engaging young lady.
Thank you.
Enjoyed talking with you. Best of luck when you get to USC. And we look for, I really hope you get that 400 collegiate record, whatever it may be, whoever has it.
Right, exactly.
As soon as you do, I am DMing you and referencing our conversation this evening.
Thank you. I definitely will. I will try my very best. That's all I can do.
And then you can go to the beach and enjoy.
Exactly.
Young lady, I appreciate your time. You have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. You too.